My client's locks transformed from this to this in a year, and let's talk about it. But first things first.
Yeah, spicy like a motherfucker, but I'm sweet, sweet.
Hey y'all, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Clutch, your go-to loctician influencer and educator that comes in the clutch for all things locks, business, and content. I might be new to YouTube, but I'm not new to Instagram. This channel will not only include day in the life vlogs, but also watch me work and lock tutorials as well. Okay, now that we got that out the way, let's get into the client details. My client hit her 1 year anniversary with her large interlock, and today we're going to go in detail on her decision to get this size and her journey update. Started my client's locks in March 2023. Here's some things that we talked about during the consultation ultimately determined her decision on getting this size lock. So number one, she wanted her locks to be symmetrical with grid style parting. View locks as a spectrum. So on the smaller side of the spectrum, such as sister locks and micro locks, the grid style parting is commonly used. Versus on the larger side of the spectrum, such as traditional locks, you will see grid style, but not so much. Other parting styles include bricklayer, random, diamond, triangle, etc. Another thing she expressed is that she wanted her locks small, but not sister lock or micro lock small, which makes sense, right? But here's the kicker. She gave me an inspo picture of someone who has sister locks. If you're a loctician and you specialize in sister locks and micro lock, the phrase, "I don't want my locks small," and showing a sister locks inspo picture don't really align. But during the consultation, one of the key things is that you have to listen to the client. So instead of saying you want sister locks, I asked her, what in this picture do you like about her locks? In this case, she was speaking on the person's lock shaft and not their lock parts. Now as a loctician, I have to figure out how to achieve that lock shaft thickness without making her parts too small. Now I examined her hair. Her hair has a medium-ish density, but her hair strands are thinner. So what does that mean? So this means, for example, if somebody had a medium density and their strands were thicker, the shaft for their lock will be thicker compared to someone like her who has medium density and thinner strands. Her locks are going to want to compact in a little bit more. So the inspo picture she showed me, she had very high density hair and it looked like she had thicker strands. So that means if I gave my client that parting size, her shaft would be probably half the size of her inspo picture because she has medium density and her strands will compact tighter as they lock. So I show her some pictures of some previous large interlocks that I've installed before. I love large interlocks because it's a happy medium between those small sister locks and micro locks and those larger traditional locks. They're still small enough to achieve a really beautiful interlock method. Okay, so now that we got the details about her consultation out the way, let's get into her install. Her install took 1 day. There was approximately 10 to 13 inches with the front of the hair being a little bit shorter than the back. Remember I said she had a medium-ish density with thinner hair strands. Also wanted her ends to be left out to keep them curly. Also remember she said she wanted grid-like parting. With grid-like parting, I like to have a middle part from edges to nape. Then even though I know each lock square is not going to stack up on top of each other, I have to be intentional about making sure as many lock squares stack on top of each other to give that grid effect. Help me view the head better, I always pre-section the whole head. Oh, and one of the things I like to do is during the consultation, I do give tester locks. So when they come back for their install, I just repair the tester locks that I put into their head or repair the specific size of tester locks that they like and keep it in their head so I can make sure I maintain the same size throughout the entire head. Okay, so after I do all the pre-sectioning, I start the install. I decided to use the 4-point rotation on her hair, and here's why. Yes, she has a longer hair length. I want to use a tighter rotation just to maintain the integrity of the lock. Yes, she has medium hair density, but there's no history of thinning due to tension or alopecia issues and stuff like that. And also her hair is a little bit on the softer side, so I want to use a tighter rotation just to keep it all together. I don't want to use like a 3-point rotation. I never use 2, but I don't want to use a 2-point rotation as well because that's going to have too many gaps. But in general, for everybody, I like to start with a 4-point, and then if the client requires a 3-point rotation, I'll just do a 3-point rotation for their maintenance. But for the install, I'm keeping it at a 4-point. If you want me to do another video detailing the different rotations and why I use them, let me know and I'll whip something up. The tool I'm using is the Interlocks tool with the bracelet extender set. I love this tool because of the bracelet extender set. I'm very clumsy. I always drop my tool and I take sanitation seriously. You can imagine if I didn't have this tool attached to my wrist and I'm dropping the tool left and right and having to stop and clean the tool off, it just got annoying. So I never have to worry about cleaning my tool from dropping it on the floor again. The thing about the bracelet is you can customize your beads to fit your brand. One of these days I'll post my brand shoot, but I'm all about the purple. I'm all about my brand color, so this is just a nice touch. Another reason I love this tool is because it's metal and also the color. I've dropped tools and because of the color, I've lost them on the floor and didn't find them until days later. I've dropped tools and they snap because they're plastic. I realized I kept dropping my previous tools because they didn't weigh heavy enough. Even though it has a little bit of a heavy weight, because of the characteristics I mentioned previously, this tool will last a lifetime. One of the things I like to do for my installs is do one side and then I connect the rows on the other side. So for example, I'll start on a right section and then the next section I start with is the left section. That helps to make sure my rows ain't off or one section has more rows than the other. It also helps with making sure I have even locks on both sides. But if I couldn't get an even amount of locks on both sides, for example, due to density issues, I'm not going to force to have that same amount of locks. All right, and this is her completed install. We started around 8 or 9 a.m. and then we finished a little after midnight. Didn't count her locks, but large interlocks pretty much range around 150 locks to 250 depending on the head size and the hair density. Our client paid $1,270 for her install. And every time she comes in my chair, she always talks about how this is the best thing she's ever done. Okay, so let's talk about her anniversary retie real quick. So this is what her hair looks like now. Client moved, but she still comes to me for her maintenance. So I just push out her maintenance from 4 to 7 weeks to like 8 to 10 weeks. Because at 4 to 7 weeks, I would finish her hair in like an hour and a half. So pushing it to 8 to 10 weeks, and they're a larger parting style, she doesn't have to worry about any thinning. So now it takes me exactly 3 hours to retie her hair. Quick reminder is the shampoo is always included in my services. As you can see, compared to her install and now, locks have thickened up so much. Now, if we compare this with her inspo picture, I definitely feel like we achieved that shaft thickness that she was looking for. One of the things I have started implementing in all my services is if a client has some minor repairs that they need to be done, meaning they got like 3 to 5 locks that I need to repair, go ahead and repair them at the appointment with no extra cost. It's going to be included in the overall service price. She did have some locks that I needed to repair. This lock, for example, even though the lock looked like it was okay, in the middle it looked like it bust open a little bit, and I called that slippage within the lock. So I just did the slippage method, which means just pulling down the interlock links until you have all that space at the top, and then I just retied it like regular. Because I always make sure the grid is cleaned up during the retie, even though she went 8 to 10 weeks without a retie, there wasn't a lot of merging of the hair or anything like that. So to prevent merging of the hair, as a loctician, you need to make sure you're always cleaning up the grid to make sure the hair is growing in the lock it's supposed to grow in. And then as a client, when you're at home, just make sure you're separating your lock to help ease the pain or to help ease the separation. Mist your hair with something like the Brand Lovely Exhilarating Hair Mist, which is also linked in the description below, and you can separate your roots that way. But as you can see, compared to her install and compared to 1 year later, her grid is nice and tight. We have not had to combine any locks during her journey, which is an A+. One of the things we have noticed is her ends began to seal up, the ends that she wanted to keep curly, but she also realized that it's a lot of at-home care that she has to do with doing the ends, and she said she was not in the business of getting locked to always do something for her hair, so she decided to go ahead and let them seal up or lock up on their own, which is fine by me. If you got this far in the video, thanks for sticking with me through this before and after transformation of large interlocks. If you like these type of videos, let me know. If you prefer if I show my face in the camera, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Thursday for the next video. Oh, and before you go, if you think I achieved the vision she was looking for, comment below and like, comment, and subscribe if you're feeling the videos. But again, my name was Clutch, your go-to loctician, influencer, and educator. To the Clutch for all things locks, business, and content, and I'll see y'all next time.